The Port of Dover has huge importance as one of the UK's main trade gateways with continental Europe. Many billions of pounds worth of goods pass through the port every year, so it's essential that the port is able to maintain, improve and expand its infrastructure. But it also needs to grow and thrive as a business, creating more jobs and prosperity for the local community and the nation. The port's board is convinced that privatising Dover is necessary to achieve that.
Over the last 10 years, we've done a lot. We've built 2 new ferry berths and one of the major cruise businesses in Europe. But now we must do more to get ready for the inevitable future growth in traffic by building a second ferry terminal in the Western Docks and to develop adjacent land as a vital part of the regeneration of the town of Dover. But to do this, we must have access to private capital.
Employment is clearly important. The port provides many jobs in an area with limited opportunities. Port activity supports around 20,000 jobs, with 6,000 of those within the port itself.
The Port of Dover is of huge importance. We support something in the region of 22,000 jobs locally. And if I can give you a few figures, over £500 million goes into the southeast economy just because the port is here. And of that 550 odd million pounds, 237 million of that represents visitor and staff spend in the local area. So that's a huge injection into the local economy.
Regeneration of the town and district of Dover is also needed, and it can't and won't happen without the port investing for the future. Ferry services from Dover connect with a number of ports in France, but there's strong competition from shuttle services through Eurotunnel. If the port is to stay competitive, it must have the opportunity to grow as a business.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt that we need more capacity in this country to deal with roll-on, roll-off traffic. And you have to step back a bit and look at the sheer scale of the industry that we have here. It's the biggest in Europe. There are not that many gateways into the country. Dover is clearly one of the most important. And our biggest trading partners are with our counterparts in Europe. It's not people in the Far East, it's not China, but it's people really on our doorstep. They're the people we do business with. So there is business there for new capacity, and it is agreed that looking ahead into the future, 25, 30 years, we're going to go up 3.5–4% a year for roll-on, roll-off traffic.
Dover was the first UK port to carry out a comprehensive 30-year planning process. It identified the need to build a new ferry terminal, T2, to service an inevitable increase in business. Once this major development is built, T2 will be the UK's second largest ferry terminal after Dover's eastern docks.
Dover takes about 70 to 85% of all our goods imports and exports. The government wants to increase our import and export of goods, therefore Dover is a vital component of that, and therefore it should have adequate capacity and adequate infrastructure.
Eventually creating and safeguarding 2,600 jobs, T2 will also act as a first step for developing Dover's waterfront and the town's wider regeneration. This is recognised by Dover District Council and Kent County Council, who say that the government's ambitions for growth at Dover can only be achieved if the port prospers and invests.
The town and the community needs the port. We need the jobs, we need the financial stability, and we need good prospects for the future. So bring it on.
But like most infrastructure businesses, the port can only fund its plans if it can access the capital markets and borrow money. Privatisation, removing Dover's restrictive trust port status, which dates back to the 1950s, will allow it to do that. Regeneration and development of the port infrastructure are ultimately part of the same plan.
The port has had no significant access to bank finance over the last 5 or 6 years. We had a small amount of borrowing in 2005. It's been made very plain to us that we're not going to be allowed to borrow going into the future. And in that time, we've managed to invest £330 million in the port in the last 30 years and over £100 million in the last 10 years. But that has been generally without borrowing.
Central to the board's plans to involve the people of Dover is the Port of Dover Community Trust. This will support local initiatives with cash contributions from the new port organisation, something that has been regularly requested locally but so far not achieved. In addition, an employee share ownership trust, ESOT, will involve all port employees in an arrangement that further adds to local ownership. Staff, after all, are part of the community too.
People in Dover are a community built around the port. We love the port, we love where we live, we love being near France, and we love what that brings, all the jobs. So therefore, the better the port is and the more financial stability that we have in the future, the better for all of us. It's our port, we love it.
So what happens next? Well, the Dover Harbour Board has developed a corporate structure which will introduce private sector investment. It's designed to deliver the funds needed to continue growing the port's capacity, while also returning funds to the government and giving a real ongoing commitment to Dover's community.
The scheme has three elements to it. Firstly, the new investor, the new owner, the partner in the port, able to invest, able to grow the business with us. Secondly, the community through the Port of Dover Community Trust, for the very first time holding shares in their own port and able to have value from that port as it grows. And thirdly, the employee share ownership scheme. The employees are major shareholders and we wanted to see them hold shares and gain value as the business grows.
So this is an exciting time for the Port of Dover, and with the help of the entire port community and the town of Dover itself, supported by new private sector investment, this important national port can continue to provide world-class facilities for trade and travel for many generations. This is the absolute best time of the year for summer bedding plants. I'm hoping for just 1 or 2 more weeks of brilliant sunshine and they should all start to bush out a bit more and look fantastic. Now this is Petunia Phantom. It's Floriselect Plant of the Year. Unfortunately, it's got a little bit bashed by the heavy rainstorms we've had over the last few weeks and it's not looking quite at its best, but it really is a cover star, as you can see in this picture.
Petunias are, every year they do well in the garden, and if this one's starved a little bit, that black and yellow really do contrast well, and you can use it in a hanging basket, in a border, or in a patio pot. It's very easy to grow.
Ordering plants by post, they come as plugs, is a great way of getting really good quality plants. Bedding plants typically last just 1 season before they die off and need replacing. More and more gardeners are getting their young plants delivered by post. Plug plants measure approximately 4 to 8 centimetres in height from the root of the plant to the top of the stem. Some bedding plants like impassions, begonia and petunia are also difficult to raise from seed. Buying them as plug plants ensures that you'll receive all the plants that you need and you won't risk the disappointment of failed germination. So what's the public's favourite bedding plant?
Has to be begonia or apricot shades. It's one of those that you never see in the garden centre because it never looks good because it flowers later. But for a home gardener to grow that, it cascades and there's apricots, there's yellows, there's picotees. It's so easy to grow and gives a wonderful display.
But of course it's not just flowers that you can get as plug plants. For the first time this year, grafted vegetables have become available to the public.
It's a commercial technique that we've taken on board for the amateur, and slightly different reasons. Commercially, the great benefit is they will grow at lower temperatures. So, as you can imagine, in commercial nurseries, great savings on fuel.
And actually you can grow a wide range of vegetables on the patio these days. French beans in a what we call a flower pouch or a veg pouch, where you just put some seeds in and put it on a vertical fence, and then you can harvest the French beans. You can do that with lettuce, come again. So, there's a wide range of vegetables that you can grow on the patio now, which is easy. And the flavour is always so much better than that you'd get from the supermarket.
The good thing about plug plants delivered through the post is that you always get full instructions, so you don't need to worry too much. The important thing though is, as soon as they arrive, get them into light and get them watered thoroughly. So I hope this little bit of advice about how to grow plug plants has been useful to you, and let's all hope for a good summer.
The Silver Star Appeal was established in 2007 to make people aware of the dangers of diabetes. It started as a small community-based charity in Leicester, but now with branches in Manchester, London and Goa in India, and with mobile diabetes assessment units on 2 continents. The number of sufferers in the United Kingdom stands at 3 million, which is linked to the rise in obesity. A further 1 million are thought to have the condition, but do not know it. Diabetes costs the NHS £1 million per hour. At the moment, £9.8 billion, 10% of the NHS budget, is spent on treating diabetes per year and is expected to rise to £16.9 billion within the next 25 years. So far, these mobile units called Merlin, Dorothy and Manda have tested over 25,000 people in the United Kingdom and India. Silver Star is privileged to have the support of loyal donors from Britain and across the world. The charity would simply not have developed without the generosity and commitment of those who have supported it. Thank you once again for your continued support.
I'm Shilpa Shetty. I support the cause. Take the test.
I am sure that people in Mexico who see what's going on in London in 2012 will be inspired.
This is going to be a flavour, a taste of what the Olympics is going to be like. A gigantic party on the banks of the river, attended by every community, everybody from Hispanic communities across London, of whom I must say there are thousands out there in those crowds tonight, strutting their funky stuff.
So for me, Mexico and the Games just takes me straight to '68 and those brilliant memories. And I just hope we can recreate in 2012 the same kinds of memories, so that the people who were born in 2000, who'll be 12 in 2012, get the same kind of inspiration as I did back then.
We have exclusive access as London prepares for the 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games.
Preparations for London 2012 are on schedule and within budget, and the International Olympic Committee have inspected our progress, and they have told us that we are as well prepared, if not better prepared, than any host city has ever been.
But David Cameron is absolutely determined that this should be a great event for our country and our city, and I'm sure that when it comes to it, Britain will make sure that we deliver the most fantastic Olympic Games ever.
This is the third Olympic Games to be held in London. Last time was back in 1948. There's the equivalent of World Championships in 26 sports. The global TV audience for the opening ceremony is expected to be 1 billion.
I hope to win gold. It's simple as that. Training so hard, 5 times a week, and I hope to win gold.
I want to make the individual in either the 100 or 200, if not both, and also the relay team as well. We've got a good setup for the next few years for our relay team as well. There's a good few athletes coming through, so hopefully we'll be able to do some damage come 2012.
Building is progressing well in the Olympic Park. The project is regenerating a run-down area to the east of the capital. The legacy to London will be 3,000 new homes, venues for top sporting events and a large new green space. So what are going to be the most impressive buildings on this once derelict wasteland?
Obviously Zaha Hadid's aquatic centre right at the gateway to the park is going to be an absolutely stunning building, this sort of fantastic wave roof. The velodrome is going to be an amazing building. We're just putting the track in at the moment. But that's going to be the greenest building, really clever and innovative design from an engineering point of view. The stadium's going to be amazing and will be the centrepiece in Games.
Well, we have in the organising committee a budget of approximately £2 billion. That sits alongside the infrastructure budget, which is about £7 billion, which is really what the regeneration of the park in the East End represents. So about £2 billion, we've raised about 1.4 already, and the majority of what remains to be raised will come through ticket sales.
We obviously want London to look fantastic, but we also want to make sure that, you know, when we're having cutbacks in the NHS, when we are fighting to find money to support the equipment for our troops in Afghanistan, it's right that we should look at the Olympic budget and every penny of it to make sure that all the things that we're spending money on are essential, and that's what we're doing.
London is a big city with a lot of travel infrastructure which can accommodate an event of this size. I mean, sure, from time to time at the big events there'll be some crowding on the public transport, just as there is today, for example, when people go to a Premiership football game.
We have an expectation that there'll be about 500,000 additional journeys every day. We'll have the Olympic route network, which stretches 70 miles throughout the centre of London.
Responsibility for security is split between the Olympic Delivery Authority and the Olympic Committee. The British government sees it as a key priority.
We'll do everything we can to make sure that this is a safe Olympics, and we are not underestimating the challenge. There will be people who are targeting the Olympics, and we will be ready for them, and we're already working very, very hard to make sure that everything that we can sensibly do to make the Olympics safe, we are going to do, and it's a very, very important priority, and it comes top of all our priorities when we're discussing all the things that we want to happen in 2012.
What I can promise is that the Games will be safe and secure. It's absolutely our priority, as you would expect it to be, in London, and indeed our own police have enormous experience at dealing with major events. Indeed, it's an experience we often use to consult with other cities around the world, and that's all been brought to bear in our preparations here in London to make sure everybody, when they come to the Games, know they'll be well taken care of.
The athletes are starting to get really excited. They can almost touch the Olympic Games. You can get a sense of who's going to be battling it out for places on the team.
Many of Britain's track and field hopefuls train regularly at the Lee Valley Athletics Centre, northeast of London.
It's going to be a big part in how successful GB team is at London 2012. About half the GB team's based here at the moment. All the medical support, strength and conditioning support, psychology support, everything that makes a difference when you're an elite athlete is based here. So we're going to be a big part in terms of how successful the team are going to be.
Well, obviously having come fourth in Beijing and missing out on a medal by about that much, I'd love to win a medal, if not win the Olympics. That's kind of everyone's dream who trains at this place.
The facilities are world class, and especially the staff as well. My coach is great, and the physio staff as well. There's a big team in and around you, so it's kind of cool to come down here and train.
Lee Valley Regional Park will also run the White Water Centre and the Velo Park and hockey and tennis centres. Researchers say £20 billion could be added to the UK economy because of the Games. It's expected there'll be a surge of interest in Britain as a tourist destination. The British Queen also celebrates her Diamond Jubilee in 2012, and the country plans lots of pageants to honour her. For many, though, London is already seen as a pricey city. What is Britain doing to ensure that visitors from Latin America and Mexico get value for money?
London, of course, is a preeminent global city, and its prices are comparable to those in other cities like New York and Paris, and so we understand that, but we're doing everything we can to make sure that it is an experience that is extremely good value for money for the people who attend.
People don't really come to Britain for the weather. They come really for all our attractions and everything that we have on offer. As we said, the history, the heritage, all our galleries and museums are free. So I think it's a really good opportunity because it's the value for money. People think that London and Britain is expensive, but actually there's a lot of great deals to be had.
For people who are coming to London and the UK from Mexico and from Latin America, there's a huge amount to see in Britain, and we want to encourage people not just to come for the Games in 2012, but to come and see the whole of what we have to offer as a country. Because this is going to be quite simply the biggest global sporting spectacle that the world has ever had.
People have just a month left to apply for some of the 6.6 million tickets which went on sale 500 days before the event. The organisers have to raise $400 million from ticket sales. The top seats for the opening ceremony are going for a whopping £2,012. The least expensive seats are just over £20. The dearest seats are being used to subsidise cheaper tickets.
Come visit us, come to London, enjoy the games, be part of it. They'll get a fantastic welcome in London 2012.
I mean, we of course are really looking forward to welcoming visitors from all over the world to London for the games, including those from Mexico.
We hope that everyone watching in Mexico and Latin America really enjoys our games.
London 2012, Olympics coverage specially for Mexico.